She thought he was coming home for Christmas. 3 years later, she was still setting a place for him at the table. And the young waitress who served her had no idea this night would change both their lives forever. The restaurant glowed under soft amber lights, polished glass reflecting the shimmer of early snowfall outside. It was Christmas Eve in Manhattan, the busiest night of the year. Laughter rose from crowded tables. Glasses clinked. A pianist near the bar played slow holiday classics that wrapped the room in warmth. At exactly 7 p.m., the front door opened, letting in a rush of cold air and silence. An elderly woman stepped inside. She wore a dark emerald coat, perfectly tailored. A single strand of pearls rested against her collarbone. Her silver hair was pinned neatly beneath a small velvet hat. She carried herself with quiet dignity, back straight, chin high, eyes calm but distant. The hostess recognized her immediately. "Good evening, Mrs. Whitmore. I'll take the corner table," the woman replied gently. The table for two. It was already reserved. 2 place settings, 2 folded napkins, 2 glasses of water, 2 menus, but only 1 chair would be occupied. Across the room, Sarah Bennett balanced 3 plates along her arm and delivered them with a steady smile. 23 years old, auburn hair tied in a simple ponytail, a warmth in her eyes that no exhaustion could fully hide. This was her first Christmas without her mother. 2 months earlier, cancer had taken the woman who raised her alone. Every ornament on the tree at home felt heavier this year. Every holiday song carried an ache she couldn't shake. But bills didn't pause for grief. So Sarah worked. Double shift, smile steady, voice kind, heart cracked, but functional. Her manager leaned close. "Sarah, you've got the corner table." She followed his gaze. The elegant elderly woman. Something about the second untouched place setting stirred curiosity. Sarah approached carefully. "Good evening, ma'am. My name is Sarah. I'll be taking care of you tonight." The woman glanced up. Her eyes were sharp blue, clear, intelligent, assessing. "I'm waiting for someone," she said. Her voice was composed, almost formal. "Of course," Sarah replied gently. "Would you like to start with something warm while you wait?" A pause. "Tea," the woman said. 2 cups. 2. Sarah nodded without hesitation. 30 minutes passed. The second chair remained empty. Snow gathered thicker outside the windows. Couples leaned closer across candlelight. Families exchanged wrapped boxes and laughter. At the corner table, 1 cup of tea cooled untouched. Sarah returned. "Would you like to order, or would you prefer more time?" "I said I'm waiting," the woman replied, a slight edge sharpening her tone. "I understand. You don't." The words were not loud, but they were firm enough to sting. Sarah swallowed the reflex to apologize again. "I'll check back shortly." She walked away, heat rising behind her eyes. In the kitchen, another server whispered, "That's Eleanor Whitmore. She's been coming here every Christmas Eve for years." "Always alone?" Sarah asked. "Always." An hour passed. Still 2 place settings. Still 1 guest. At 8:45 p.m., most diners were finishing dessert. Sarah noticed the woman's hands now resting on the table, fingers gently touching the edge of the empty plate across from her. Not fidgeting, remembering. Sarah made a quiet decision. She went to the kitchen and asked the pastry chef for a small chocolate cake. Nothing elaborate, just warm, comforting. She carried it out with 2 forks. She set it down between the plates. "This is on us," she said softly, "for whoever you're waiting for." The woman's posture stiffened. "I don't need pity." "It's not pity," Sarah answered carefully. "It's company." Silence stretched between them. The pianist shifted into "I'll be home for Christmas." The woman's hand trembled. "He won't be coming," she said finally. The words fell heavy. He was 26, the woman continued. Captain Daniel Whitmore, United States Army. The restaurant noise seemed to fade around them. He was deployed overseas 3 years ago tonight. He promised he'd be home in time for dinner. Her eyes moved to the empty chair. The knock came instead. Sarah's breath caught. I set this table every year, Eleanor Whitmore said, because a mother doesn't stop waiting, even when she knows. Tears gathered, but did not fall. I thought if I kept everything ready, he might find his way back. The second cup of tea remained untouched. Sarah felt her own grief rise to meet this woman's pain. My mom loved Christmas, she said quietly. She passed in October. Eleanor looked at her fully now. It's my first one without her. For a long moment, neither woman spoke. 2 losses, different shapes, same weight. Eleanor's voice softened. I was harsh earlier. It's okay. No, Eleanor said. It isn't. Grief doesn't excuse cruelty. She reached into her handbag and pulled out a small velvet box. I come here every year for another reason, she said. Sarah blinked. Eleanor placed the box gently on the table. I own this restaurant. Sarah stared at her. And 4 others in the city. The room suddenly felt different. I don't tell the staff, Eleanor continued. I watch. I listen. I see who serves with heart when they think no one important is looking. She gestured toward the cake. You only saw that I was alone. Sarah's eyes filled. Eleanor pushed the velvet box toward her. Open it. Inside was a silver key. The new Midtown location opens in February. I've been searching for a general manager. Sarah shook her head instinctively. Ma'am, You stayed gentle after I pushed you away, Eleanor said. You honored the empty seat. You brought 2 forks. Her voice trembled for the first time. My son believed leadership meant service. He believed kindness was strength. She looked at Sarah as if seeing something beyond her uniform. Tonight, you reminded me of him. The pianist stopped playing. The final note hung in the air. Around them, several nearby tables had gone quiet. Witnessing. Eleanor stood slowly. So if you'll accept it, she said, the position is yours. Sarah covered her mouth, tears falling freely now. I don't even know what to say. Say yes, Eleanor replied softly. The restaurant erupted, not in noise, but in something deeper. Applause. Not loud, but unanimous. A father at a nearby table wiped his eyes. A young couple held hands tighter. The hostess near the door pressed a napkin to her face. Sarah stood and stepped around the table. Without hesitation, she embraced Eleanor. The older woman held her firmly, like a mother. For a moment, neither of them was alone. Later that night, after the final guests had left, and chairs were turned upside down on tables, Sarah remained by the window. Snow covered the city in quiet white. Eleanor approached her one last time. Grief doesn't shrink, but it changes shape when shared. Sarah nodded. Will you still set 2 plates next year? She asked gently. Eleanor smiled through tears. Yes. A pause. But maybe I won't sit alone. Christmas morning arrived with headlines no one expected. A photo had circulated online, captured by a diner the night before. An elderly woman, a young waitress, an empty chair between them, 2 forks on a small chocolate cake. The caption read, "Kindness is how we bring them home." By noon, the image had been shared thousands of times. By evening, millions. Veterans organizations reached out. Families who had lost loved ones wrote letters. Strangers sent messages of gratitude. The Midtown location opening in February became more than a business expansion. It became a tribute. Eleanor renamed it Daniel's Table. Every Christmas Eve, 1 table would remain set for 2. 1 chair always empty. A reminder. A promise. On opening night, Sarah stood beneath the new sign, silver key in hand. Eleanor stood beside her. Reporters asked, why she chose someone so young to lead. Eleanor answered simply, because she understands that service isn't about plates. It's about people. Inside the restaurant, the first guests were seated. Near the window, a small plaque rested on the reserved table. For those who are missed, for those who are remembered, for those who are never truly gone. That evening, Sarah carried 2 cups of tea to the corner table. She placed them gently down. Eleanor took one. They left the other steaming softly in the candlelight. Outside, snow began to fall again, and somewhere between loss and love, between memory and hope, 2 women who had walked into Christmas broken discovered something unexpected. Kindness doesn't erase pain, but it gives it a place to sit, and sometimes it sets the table for healing.